Your body has a clock, multiple clocks actually, one in your brain, others in your liver, pancreas, heart, muscles. And when these clocks don't match the environment, when you're eating at midnight, sleeping at noon, working night shifts, your risk of serious disease increases. Cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease. Professor Debra Skene, Section Lead of Chronobiology at the University of Surrey, with 190 plus publications, UK epidemiology studies, her research is clear. Circadian rhythm mismatch is a health risk, not minor, major. I've tracked over 300 days of sleep data, 7 to 8 hours most nights, same window, 11:30 to about 7:30. Consistency, not perfection, consistency. And my metabolic health. HbA1c dropped from 46 to 37. My inflammation is near zero, energy steady, mood stable. Your body clock matters more than most people realise. Here's why. October 2024, I started tracking my sleep properly. Not just duration, timing, consistency. I was in bed by 11 o'clock most nights, wake around 7. 8 sometimes. So 8 to 9 hours was where I was going. Not rigid, I'm not obsessive, but regular. And I noticed patterns. Days I slept well, energy was a good 8 out of 10. Clear thinking, steady mood. Days I didn't, my energy dropped to 5s and 6s, brain fog, and I was irritable. Not just the hours, the timing. If I went to bed at midnight, 1 a.m, even if I got 7 hours, I'd feel rougher the next day. Draggier, less sharp. Same duration, different timing, different results. That's your circadian rhythm. Your body expects certain things at certain times. Sleep when it's dark, eat when it's light. Move during the day, rest at night. When you disrupt that pattern, late nights, irregular meals, shift work, your internal clocks get confused. And Professor Debra Skene's research shows that confusion increases disease risk. Shift workers have higher rates of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer. Not because they're unhealthy people, because their circadian rhythms mismatched with their environment. Their liver clock says it's 3 a.m, but they're eating breakfast. Their brain clock says it's time to sleep, but they're under fluorescent lights. It's a mismatch, a chronic mismatch. And even if you don't work shifts, you can still create mismatch. Social jet lag. That's what Professor Debra Skene calls it. Weekdays, bed at 10, wake at 6. Weekends, bed at 1, wake at 10 a.m. Your body clock shifts every week, back and forth. And that's linked to weight gain, mood problems, metabolic dysfunction. I used to do that for years. Late Friday night, sleeping Saturday, Sunday night, can't fall asleep early, Monday morning, knackered, repeat every week. Now, bed 11:30 most nights, weekends included. Not perfect, sometimes I am still up till 1, 2, 3. But sometimes I wake at 5:30. But the range is tight, within an hour or two. 90+% of my sleep is between 6 and 8 hours. And that consistency, what Professor Skene says matters. More than duration, more than sleep quality, consistency. Your body adapts to patterns. When you sleep at the same time every night, your cortisol rises before you wake. Your glucose increases, your body prepares. When you're erratic, your body never knows what's coming. Cortisol's all over the place. Glucose regulation suffers. Inflammation increases. 300 days of tracking taught me consistency definitely beats perfection. I don't get 8 hours every night. Sometimes it's 6.5, sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 9. But I am in bed more often than not these days. And I wake naturally, 6:30, 7 o'clock. And my HbA1c dropped from 46 to 37 over 18 months. Pre-diabetic to optimal. Not just because I fasted, not just because I ate non-UPFs, but because I fixed my circadian rhythm as well. Sleep, consistent sleep at the same time every night. That is foundational. So why does Professor Debra Skene say circadian rhythm mismatch increases disease risk? Because the data proves it. UK epidemiology studies, shift workers, decades of tracking. People who work night shifts, nurses, factory workers, security guards, have higher risks of cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease. Not because they're unhealthy, because their circadian rhythm's disrupted. Their master clock in the brain is controlled by light. Daylight resets it every morning. But their peripheral clocks, the liver, the pancreas, the muscles, are controlled by food and activity. When you eat at midnight, your liver clock thinks it's daytime, but your brain clock knows it's night. It's a mismatch, and that mismatch, that creates metabolic chaos. Your liver's trying to process food when it should be resting. Your pancreas is producing insulin when cortisol is supposed to be low. Your muscles are storing glucose when they should be releasing it. Over time, inflammation increases. Insulin resistance develops. Wet sate points rise. Professor Skene's research shows even small mismatches matter. Social jet lag, sleeping 2 hours later on weekends than weekdays, is linked to weight gain, mood problems, reduced performance, and meal timing. That affects your triglycerides. Eating the same food at lunchtime versus midnight produces different metabolic responses. Higher triglycerides at night, worse glucose control, because your body's expecting food during the day, not at night. Professor Skene's team has done controlled lab studies. Shift people's eating time by 5 hours, glucose rhythm shifts, triglycerides increase. Same food, different timing, different outcome. That's why fasting windows work. Not just because you're eating less, because you're eating at consistent times. Your body adapts. Your peripheral clocks sync up. Your metabolism stabilises. And Professor Skene's advice, consistency matters more than perfection. You don't need to be in bed at exactly 10 p.m. every single night, but within an hour or two. That's the target. Weekdays and weekends, same pattern. Your body will thank you. Now, here's the reality. Shift workers can't just stop working shifts. If you're a nurse, you're working nights. If you're a factory worker, you're on rotating shifts. Professor Skene knows this. Her research doesn't blame shift workers. It highlights a systematic problem. Because here's what you can control. Meal timing. Even if you're working nights, eat at consistent times. Don't graze all shift. Have defined meals. Light exposure. Get daylight when you wake up, even if it's 2 p.m. Dim lights before bed, even if bed is 8 a.m. Consistency within your pattern. If you work nights, Monday to Friday, don't flip back to days on Saturday. Keep the same sleep schedule. It's not ideal. Professor Skene would tell you that, but it's better than erratic. And if you're not a shift worker, you've got no excuse. Bed at the same time, wake at the same time, weekdays and weekends. That's the foundation. Right, here's what you do. 1, pick a bedtime. Stick to it within an hour, 7 days a week. For me, it's 11:30. For you, it might be 9:30 or 11. Doesn't matter, just pick one and stay consistent. 2, get daylight in the morning. As soon as you wake, outside if possible, 10 minutes, even in winter. Even in Yorkshire in November. Professor Skene says outdoor daylight is 100 to 500 times brighter than indoor lights, even on a cloudy day. That light resets your master clock, tells your brain it's daytime. Without it, your circadian rhythm drifts, sleep gets worse, mood drops. 3, dim lights in the evening, 2 hours before bed, no bright overhead lights, no scrolling under harsh blown screens. Blue light's the worst. Overall brightness matters more. Dim everything. Warm lighting, soft glow. Your body needs darkness to produce melatonin. Melatonin signals sleep. Bright lights suppress melatonin. Sleep suffers. 4, eat at consistent times every day. Breakfast at X, lunch at X, dinner at X, or whatever your pattern is. Just keep it consistent. Your peripheral clocks, liver, pancreas, muscles sync to meal timing. Irregular eating, those clocks get confused. Metabolism suffers. I eat within a 4-hour window most days when I am doing the rhythm reset, 12 till 4, sometimes 11:30 till 3:30. But when I am not, I normally average a 7-8 hour window, half 11 to half 7. But it's consistent. My body knows the pattern, and my glucose regulation stable. My triglycerides dropped. My HbA1c optimal. Circadian rhythm fixed. Metabolism followed. If you want my full sleep protocol, bedtime routine, morning light exposure, meal timing guide, it's in the Rhythm Club. The link's in the description. And this is important. If you have sleep disorders or work shifts that disrupt your circadian rhythm, speak to your GP. There may be medical intervention that may help. This is educational content. It is not medical advice. But if you're wondering why your sleep's rubbish despite getting 7 hours, check your consistency. Bed at the same time, wake at the same time, every day. Professor Debra Skene's research is clear. Circadian rhythm mismatch increases your risk of cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. I've tracked 300 plus days. Consistency works. Fix your rhythm, fix your metabolism.